Hi, it's me, David. I'd like to welcome you back to Life with Parkinson's. Thank you for taking the time to watch. Over the last couple months, I've been making videos that I think others with Parkinson's would enjoy, about the everyday challenges that we face and sometimes the humorous things that happen to us. One strange phenomenon that I've noticed is sometimes I speak my mind without meaning to. It's almost like I've lost my verbal filter and I just blurt things out without thinking about them ahead of time. We've talked about a few hurtful instances in the past, but this time I'd like to talk about a couple funny situations that happened that at the time were hurtful, but they've actually gone down in family legend with my wife and my children. As always, if you have any medical concerns or symptoms that you might be experiencing, I ask you to seek out medical attention. This video is not meant to diagnose yourself at all. I am not a medical professional. Let me introduce you to the great bobblehead fiasco. My wife is notorious for shopping at the dollar store, and she likes to keep up with the current trends whenever possible. She likes to buy little things there and decorate the house and change things up on a regular basis. One time, my son got into the bobbleheads, and of course, my wife caught on as well. The thing is though, as many of you know, bobbleheads can be pretty pricey depending on where you buy them. When we were still living at my in-laws, we were pretty strapped for cash due to the COVID situation and getting reorganized, and we still had a lot of bills that we needed to keep up with. Our bank account was running pretty low, and one day she came home from the dollar store with this fancy little bobblehead that she said reminded her of me. That's when the words came tumbling out. How much did this cost? You know we don't have much money left. Apparently I said it rather badly, and that's when the tears came tumbling out. She said she had saved $2 from the week before and wanted to buy me something special to reward me for working so hard and keeping track of everything that we were doing. Oh boy, I put myself in the doghouse, and she phoned our kids to tell them what had happened. Shortly after we got married and started having children, Lululemon came out with a fancy little zip-up hoodie that my wife wanted. A lot of her friends at Parent and Tot were buying them, and she wanted the yellow one to celebrate endometriosis colors. So I figured I'd saved up enough money from working overtime, so we went down to Vancouver and bought one. In the beginning, the Lululemon products were pretty expensive, but I didn't mind. My wife was good at taking care of her things, and she loved this yellow hoodie. She wore it every day, everywhere we went, and she basically wore it out so much that it fell off of her. I was very proud of her for that. So this last summer, when our kids came to visit, Brewmate brought out this new fancy water bottle that she really wanted to have. Water bottles, mugs, and coffee cups are some of her favorite things to buy. My son and her love shopping together a lot, so of course he took her to Kelowna so she could pick up the water bottle she had been saving up for the last couple months. It's yellow, of course, to celebrate the endometriosis colors, and she was so proud of it when she brought it home. That's when I ruined the moment for her. I said, "Turn it over. Does it remind you of anything?" Well, doghouse, here I come. This has basically gone down in history as one of the funniest things I've ever said. Thankfully, my wife didn't cry about it, as far as I know. And she doesn't use the water bottle as often as she would like because she says she finds it hard to take it seriously. We did have a hamster for a few years, so I guess that's where I made the connection. These instances are fun to talk about and are amusing in a way because we never know what I'm going to say. But what I want to talk about at this point in the conversation is, what if these situations build up and become unbearable for your support person? What do you do? We have had varied input on what to do when these situations come up. My wife has been cautioned not to be too hard on me because if she is, it can cause me to lose confidence in myself or an acceleration of symptoms like Parkinson's dementia. I have been diagnosed with a mild cognitive impairment, so others tell her it's the Parkinson's and not me. Try to remember him as he was before. I don't know if I agree with that theory because it would be so easy for me to take the simple way out and blame everything on my illness. I need to take responsibility for my actions. I need to know how she is feeling and how others are reacting to my behavior because a lot of the times in the moment I don't know what I am doing. I say to bring the situations up because I don't want to cut off communication with her, other friends, or other family. The main reason is because sometimes I don't know if I have upset her. I find it more difficult at this stage to read body language. And my wife says an expressionless face is difficult to read as well. I hope you can appreciate that once in a while I lose my verbal filter and blurt things out without thinking about them ahead of time. Sometimes it can be very hurtful, and sometimes it can be humorous, like these situations are, but when I said them they weren't funny, although now they've gone down in family history. Once in a while we can use some comic relief, because this disease a lot of times can be very hurtful to us. So what do you think about my conclusion? Do you agree with it? Should we confront our person with Parkinson's with the things that they've said, or should we hide them and try to cover them up? Let me know in the comments below, and if you have any other ideas, please leave them for me as well. I hope we can take this journey together. Thank you and have a good day. Goodbye.